Calm down. It's just a dead body. It's not gonna attack you or anything.
Oh. Sorry about that. He looks like my dead brother, that's all. I kind of went to pieces there for a second.
So I've been playing Michigan Report from Hell. Wow. Okay, so it's been just about a year and a half since I covered Killer 7. Back then, after being totally blown away by it, I set out on a quest of sorts to cover everything Suda51 ever did. There may have been some highs, there may have been some lows, but overall, I am quite legitimately stunned by just how creative this motherfucker actually is. Also, yeah, I am well aware that I'm talking with a sense of finality here, and considering that he isn't dead yet, that shit is quite undeserved. But, on the other hand, while I'm sure I'll cover No More Heroes 2 at some point, I honestly couldn't give less of a fuck about his Xbox Live Arcade games, and I strongly doubt any of the Twilight Syndrome games or the Silver Case will ever end up getting localized. So, yeah, this definitely feels to me like the end of a thing what I did, even though it isn't, but also, fuck you, I wrote this, and I'm too lazy to change it. The news! American news in particular, full of lies, hyper-sensationalization, and a plethora of weird fetish-related content. Wait, what? You love it though, and that's why this game is about just that. We follow the tale of the Zaka TV news team consisting out of the sound guy and resident retard Briscoe, reporter Pamela, and you, yourself, the player character, as the cameraman. When the game starts, our team is out in the field making news happen like a bunch of assholes, until all of a sudden Miss Shark Week comes along, Pamela ends up being dead, and now it is up to you and Briscoe Bay to find out what the fuck is going on and save the day. After trying to get some nudie shots, of course. And, well, yeah, while all of Suda's games I've played so far have been at least pretty clever in some way, this has to be one of the dumbest things I have ever experienced. And I say that fully realizing that I reviewed The Sniper 2. Actually, this game overall would have been perfectly at home in the simple series now that I think about it. I mean, the voice acting is bloody hilarious, as it's more likely written by chimpanzees, and there's also a shit ton of obligatory hentai moments. Fuck, I hate myself for doing that. It's all wonderfully stupid though, as the game is essentially one big nod to campy 80s horror movies. Like, you end up in a big mansion, for instance, play around with the Thing for a bit, and you even end up in a log cabin at some point. And with settings like that, I legitimately found it to be quite enjoyable. It's not like the story really goes anywhere, sure, and people do die left and right with little to no fanfare, but I'd be lying if I said that I wasn't invested at all. It might start off a bit slow, and it might look, sound, and animate like complete fucking trash, but as a mildly interactive B-horror movie, it is actually pretty okay. Hearing Briscoe go on about his fetishes, art, or food is fun to listen to, in the same way something like DP's car convos are enjoyable, or the codec calls from MGS3. And, seeing as everyone freaks out in the most stilted and corny way possible, it is also quite funny.
A lot of our colleagues have disappeared. Some of them are even dead. Like Pamela. I'd like to make that damn chief go through the same thing poor Pamela went through.
Yeah, well, you know.
Damn straight.
Being the cameraman, you are there to just about document whatever the fuck Briscoe decides to do, and thus, this is a game in which you look at things. Saying it like that, though, makes it sound as if the game isn't very high on interactivity, which certainly isn't true. You see, everyone around you reacts to what you choose to look at with your camera, and as such, you have a pretty heavy hand in how events unfold. And by that I mean that, as a cameraman, you are obviously completely inept at literally everything. So you're only able to boss people around by looking at objects you want them to interact with. Wanna explore and see what's behind this door? Sucks for you, mate, cause this chick isn't around to open it for you. Now, a fitting argument here would be, well, you have to hold the camera, so you can't possibly open the door. Okay, well, sure, but then why doesn't Briscoe do it, considering he literally always tags along?
God damn it! I'll never forget you, Pamela.
Fine. Letting him do anything probably would be a bad idea. Actually, come to think of it, pretty much everyone in this game is more or less a talking vegetable. I mean, for one, no one ever comments on or does anything of value until you look at it. Imagine walking into a bathroom with a fucking bathtub filled to the brim with blood, only for your team to just stand there right next to it, doing nothing. And the moment that they do, oh god. Now, the part where this still manages to be a video game somehow is when they introduce points. There are two types of points to be pointed here, being erotic points and suspense points. This bar at the top of the screen indicates on which side you lean. I feel like this should be fairly self-explanatory, but just to be clear, you get suspense cred by actually being where all of the mad scoops can be found, and you get sex cred by filming up a booty hole. You can lock on and observe things with X, thus increasing the intensity of lookage. And you're also able to ram into things with L1, which is used for situations like, oh no, a spider! Better violently shove this bitch out of the way like a true gentleman. Anyway, you'd think that a game like this would be the easiest fucking thing to do contextual design for. But when you want to observe or lock onto something, you need to wait for the dot in the middle to turn either red or orange. And for some fucking reason, the hitboxy triggery thingies of dot activation are completely off from the actual models. Ugh. It's pretty fucking annoying, especially when you're looking at a messy desk and you're not even sure what actually caused the trigger dot to appear in the first place. That said though, the game overall controls quite well. I'm a reviewer. Doing small precise movements or big sweeping camera pans are all very doable, and it's rather nice to have such a large amount of control over the camera. Though that won't get you anywhere if the game wouldn't allow you the freedom to be able to fuck around with that properly. And luckily it does. Every cutscene more or less plays out like a B-movie stage play, and you're able to just walk around in between the actors and fuck with them with little to no restrictions. Filming shit in this game is just overall kind of fun, I guess. Well, depending on how much RP you're willing to throw in there. Just kind of a shame that none of it really matters. I could very well just be expecting too much from a low-budgety game like this, but the actual camera angles themselves don't actually influence your score. At one point, I was trying to be all cinematic, making epic shots, and the game didn't reward me at all. To really play this game MLG style, you would have to scan the scene until you see the little cursor moving, and then put down your controller and do nothing. Which also made for some ugly-ass shots, so this is just one hell of a missed opportunity in my book. Every woman in this game either dies seconds after being introduced, or serves as nothing more than a vessel for gratuitous ass shots. Like, geez, this game has one fucking agenda. Better get that smug hipster lady with the big nose on the phone, cause Suda's being sexist up in this bitch. Seriously though, the erotic parts are actually kind of broken. I mean, as far as getting scoops goes, you just need to look at whoever's talking, but getting sexy points, now that's like a reward, know what I'm saying? Only problem is that the simple act of crouching gets you insta boner score as the game registers it as butt looking or whatever. So really, if you'd want to reach critical perversion in this game, just squat down. It actually kind of ruins the only actual mechanic that this game has. Not that I at all care, but it just goes to show how little thought and or time went into this. I mean, hell, even the fucking gigolo missions from Killa is Dedo had more going on than this, and those actually were something the publisher forced Suda to do. Keeping with the theme of implementing things with little to no thought, let's talk about the boss battles. Well, I say battles, but because you and your crew are completely inept, all you can do is look at a thing and hope that it registers so that reporter girl number 44 can shoot at it. I really found myself wondering why a game like this needed fucking boss battles in the first place. I mean, there is some combat, as every once in a while, these cockrochetes come crawling out of the mist, whom then get promptly fucked with a single shot. It's not great by any means, but I guess it does kinda work, and plus, you do need some way to kill off all of these disposable female characters, and what better way to do that than through awkward combat? But then there are the boss battles, which are already stupid and ultimately harmless as there's no fucking fill state anyway, but also, holy fuck, did I not ever know what the fuck was going on during any of these. There was one where I had to shoot some fuel canisters, but only one specifically, but then of course the fucking scoop box was off. And finally, there was also this thing where I figured I'd have to shoot at the statues to spin it above it, which seemed to work as it started to wiggle as I did it. But then, completely out of nowhere, a sound effect started playing. All characters disappeared except the monster, and after looking around in confusion for a bit, shit eventually just cut away. No cutscenes, no explanation, just straight up starting a new scene in a new place and nothing telling me whether I won or lost or whatever the fuck happened to reporter girl number 39. And there were a handful of other instances like that where I had no idea what the fuck actually happened. All the while, my PS2 sounded like it was fucking suffocating. The only other game so far that has made it do that was Crash Bandicoot Wrath of Cortex. So for now, I'll just assume that that's the PS2's way of telling me that it wants to die. Please, kill me. So yeah, this game fucking sucks dick, but I also kinda love it. As I said, the story legitimately is really fucking enjoyable. The characters are fun, the plot is interesting, there's always something weird happening, and because of the light interactive nature, I actually ended up feeling really involved and immersed while playing. And hey, it even has multiple endings based on some shit what you did or didn't do that don't add a single fucking thing. Seriously, the only thing that changes drastically are the girls that end up dying, which in turn impacts the fan service. And really, that's probably the only thing I'll take away from this game. No matter who you choose to associate with, or which paths in life you choose to take, at the end of the day, you'll most likely still end up jacking it to a low-budget PS2 game. A worthy life lesson indeed.